The defense role is in trouble. Since it was introduced back in 1.0, everyone has been wondering, why is there a defense role? Well, other than making us farm for different tokens to level them, separating their W engines, what are they good for? Is there a distinction between defense and support? The answer is yes. And here is why. In game design, there is this thing called design space. Design space is the amount of options a specific design decision creates. By forcing teams to have 3 characters, that means the combination players can use are limited to a maximum of 3. This can seem like an arbitrary limitation, but it is not. Let me give you an example. Think of playing a deck with 52 cards, and the player is given all the cards. Now the best hand is always the same. Giving more cards just makes the game smaller after a point. Deciding where the ideal breakpoint is, that's where the game designer lives. Then there's this idiom, limitation breeds creativity. This one is a bit weirder, but just as simple. If players are allowed to use everything every time, it means the best solution is always the same. If we could play the same team in all 3 challenges of Deadly Assault, how many players would just play their strongest team? Paradoxically, by allowing players to always use their strongest option, they end up never trying other things, and the game feels stale. But by forcing players to use multiple teams, it forces players to check out other characters and other compositions. So unintuitively, by giving players restrictions, it makes players play a more diverse game. So having 2 distinct roles that serve similar positions can increase the options players have. Unfortunately, this has had mixed results. For a while, there was even the myth that defense was just a gender distinction. Female characters were support roles and male characters were defense. This was never true, but very funny to think about. Just a reminder, if you like the content, make sure to give it a like. It really helps the channel and it tells YouTube you want to see more of this. So what is defense good for then? Defense characters serve an important role in the game. They make our characters live longer. In 1.x, we had limited defense options, but they were varied in what they could do. Ben Bigger mitigates damage, and so do Seth and Caesar. They also serve different roles in the team. Seth supported anomaly agents, while Caesar was more general. In 2.x, this trend continues with even more options. Pawn gives us HP back and a huge sheer damage bonus. Zhao gives maximum HP and heals on top of that. She also gives several damage buffs on top of it, and activates Ether Veil mechanics as a bonus. So while there is a theme here of making our team harder to kill, it's clear that over time, Hoyo decided that wasn't enough. So now defense characters give critical buffs. You might be thinking, how is this unique? While supports sometimes have healing properties, it's nowhere near as common. Astra Yao and Lucia being great examples of this cross-pollination. But damage mitigation isn't anywhere near as common in supports. From Nicole all the way to Yuzuha, they mostly care about damage. Now, are defense characters fun? Yes, they are. Now, this is mostly preference, but from the bears to the gal with the shield, I am a fan. And Hoyo hasn't disappointed with the 2.x editions of Pawn and Zhao. Have you seen her dance K-pop? Design-wise, defense has a lot going for it. They occupy a space very much their own, making sure the team doesn't die. Gameplay-wise, it has always been some of the best in the game. Ben had skill parries from release, which Caesar King maintained as a trend. When endgame content wasn't as focused on timers as it is the current Deadly Assault and Sheer Defense, back when Battle Tower was the hardest content, defense characters were some of the best for almost every player. What about now, you ask? Well, now we're in a different era. The game has evolved. Supports have buffs galore. Even stunners now heavily buff the team. So defense characters had to follow suit. We can see this with Bon, who for a while was the best teammate for Yixuan, one of the best teams in the game. And now, Zhao maintains the trend with Ye Shengguang. Because endgame has moved aggressively into time-based challenges, defense had to evolve. And it did. Defense characters don't just give protection. Now they make the whole team stronger. They are not supports like Yuzuha or Sokaku, who, while buffing, do a lot of damage. But they allow the players to make more mistakes and still succeed. They aren't the flashiest characters. You don't expect to see defense characters doing incredible damage. But the team also doesn't fall over when the boss sneezes. Defense characters shouldn't be primarily designed for speedruns. They should be designed for the players who want to have fun. The player that sees the boss do huge skill and says, "Not this time." The player who accounts for making mistakes by making a team more resilient. Instead of restarting on every mistake, we account for that and come out on top anyway. After all is said and done, is defense worth it? Yes, defense is a great addition to the game. If I had Oyos here, I would only say, double down on the thematic you chose for the class. Don't be afraid that some players only care about top damage. Give us characters that make us feel like we're in a true action movie, where the hero doesn't win by default. We get punched, we get back up, and finally, we win. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll be doing more of this content from now on. Still, my usual lateral thinking. Conceptual thinking is what I want to bring to you guys. Now, if you're still here, it means you like the content. So give it a like and consider subscribing. Tell me what you think about the defense class down below.